watching Morning Live, of course, and it's day one of the 21-day nationwide lockdown. Now, many non-essential businesses are now closed, and you can only go to shops to buy food and medicine. Now, when he announced this drastic but necessary measure, President Cyril Ramaphosa noted that the economy and business would suffer. And there is, however, some relief for business in the Solidarity Fund, and the registration for that is www.smmesa.gov.za, and that of course is for small and medium enterprises. And many business owners are distressed about how they are actually going to survive in the next 21 days or so. But to tell us more and help us navigate this very treacherous path right now, I'm joined by Justine Hoppy, who's a director at Mazars Recovery and Restructuring. Justine, thanks so much for your time this morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Morning, thanks for having me.
So Justine, we hear about these relief efforts on government's part, but is it truly going to help enough for those SMMEs who are very distressed at the moment, just looking at what the next 21 days might do to their businesses?
I think perhaps the first challenge is the speed with which this crisis has hit particularly small businesses. As we know, this comes on the back of an already wobbling economy, and many businesses have been struggling for quite some time. So this becomes the final straw that tips many businesses over the edge. When it comes to the many measures that have been announced by government to date, I think that perhaps key at this stage is for small businesses to understand exactly how they can access those measures and what they need to do in order to access very needed financial assistance. So far, we haven't had much in the way of clear directions. We do know that certain funds are in the process of being set up. We do know that businesses can register to access those funds. My concern as we start day one of the 21-day lockdown period is how quickly those are going to be up and running and capable of providing much needed assistance to the many small businesses that are going to feel the pinch.
Indeed, Justine, and we have seen Standard Bank, Nedbank, amongst others, offering payment holidays, as it were, for businesses that have loans with them. But please explain to us exactly what that payment holiday is and what the implications thereof may be.
Yes, we do. Standard Bank and Nedbank were very quick to go to market and explain that they will be assisting their customers as best possible. A payment holiday, and I think this is important for businesses to understand, is simply a rollover of the obligations. So it's a period in which you will be released from your obligations to make payment of capital or interest, or potentially both. However, it doesn't release you from paying those amounts in due course. It will, however, assist many small businesses from a cash flow and a liquidity perspective in the short term.
And what about micro enterprises? What about the one-man shows, the independent contractors? Because I've been seeing messages from some of them writing to us saying that they were told that this will, if they even enter into an arrangement, it will still have an adverse effect on their credit portfolio. So speak to us about that, please, Justine.
I don't know the details regarding credit ratings. However, the indications from the presidency as well as from the financial institutions are that we are quite obviously in unprecedented times, and the ordinary rules that would apply to non-payment cannot possibly apply given where we currently find ourselves. I think that small businesses and perhaps all businesses, to be frank, need to understand that there will be a difference between non-payments that were made up until this point of shutdown and payments going forward. And many of the funds that are going to be made available, and indeed many of the incentives that government has announced, including tax incentives, will be available to businesses who are currently in good standing. So I can't see how there will be any adverse impact to a credit rating for a company that is in good standing but enters into a payment holiday with its financier directly due to the COVID-19 virus that we're currently facing.
So I think we'd hope that there would be greater clarity given and further discussions on this matter. But where businesses are unable to sustain their customer base because of what is happening right now, Justine, what happens to them?
So Mazars is a particularly owner-run business focus, and we've already seen quite an uptick in queries from our clients. And so it's something that we've had to grapple with over the last 10 days, and no doubt that will carry on going forward. I think that most importantly, businesses need to be proactive in this time, and it does pose challenges, because obviously at this point people are feeling stresses and strains from every direction. I think for small businesses, first and foremost, they should run cash flow forecasts, do it weekly, roll it forward over the next 3 months, because I think realistically the 21-day shutdown is going to be felt for quite some time beyond this. And then they should prepare a cash gap plan, understand where the pressure points are, cut operations where they can, and be proactive in compiling documents that will enable them to access the various funds that we know are in the process of being set up, and also enable them to go to their financiers to request payment holidays or various other assistance, but to do so with all the documents that they need so that they don't lose any more time. I think that is probably the biggest challenge. And if they are truly at a stage where they are so distressed that they are unable to access funding from a variety of sources, engage with professional advisors. Go and speak to somebody who can potentially assess your business, find out whether perhaps business rescue is an option, or whether there's some kind of informal turnaround that can be achieved by engaging with your stakeholders. I think the one thing that is for sure is that if you don't do anything and you sit back, you are going to be completely overwhelmed by the current situation we find ourselves in.
And Justine, there's so much to talk to. I wanted to talk to you about, the predictions as Mazars recovery and restructuring. What are your predictions regarding the impact of COVID-19 on SMMEs in particular? But I guess also about the Solidarity Fund that was announced, the Oppenheimer and Rupert families contributing 1 billion rand each. And will the Solidarity Fund really help jumpstart this particular part of the economy, and how do people access it, more importantly?
So I think that, any fund and any program that is set up by government in conjunction with the private sector is good. Realistically, I think we are going to exit this crisis at some point in time with many, many, many businesses not having survived it. I think realistically, it's just impossible that some of the businesses that have been facing considerable strain over the last few years are going to have the wherewithal to get through this process. That said, it is encouraging to see how proactive the private sector and government have been. It's very encouraging to see that funds are already in the process of being set up, and I would encourage all small business owners to access those funds online, to go onto the government websites, register your business so that when they are fully operational, you're in a position to take advantage of whatever assistance is available. And to just do what you can to place your business in the very best possible situation to survive this crisis.
Well, Justine, so much to talk about, but unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Justine Hop, Director at Mazars Recovery and Restructuring, talking to us about the distress business may face following the lockdown that we are enduring at the moment.